Hey Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you a layout for Spiegel Mom Scraps, and it is birthday week here at Spiegel Mom Scraps, and the challenge was to scrap a birthday that you wouldn't normally scrap. This is a layout of my friend's daughter, and Mia, my daughter, went to her birthday party, and I used that digital cut file from Spiegel Mom Scraps that you can see. I chose the candles and happy part and chose to use a different birthday, and that was sort of the centerpiece and the foundation of my layout. Mia had a wonderful time at this young gal, and this gal's name is Sherry. You'll see later on. Mia had a wonderful time at Sherry's birthday party, and normally I don't get pictures of my daughter at somebody else's birthday party, but because this birthday was done through Evite, Sherry's dad uploaded his pictures to the site, so we were able to take a look at them and see all of the fun things that the girls were up to. So I was able to print a few of them, and that enabled me to scrap a birthday that I normally wouldn't scrap. So I wanted to back this cut file. Normally I cut a file out as I did with birthday and use the positive, but in this case I left the negative on the page and needed to back that. So I used, my goal was to use this whole piece of pattern paper from Pink Paisley, and I thought that I would put a border around the page, but the way that I ended up laying out the page, it wasn't going to work. So that's why I cut the middle of the pattern paper out, which I would not normally do, hoping to preserve the outer edge for a border. And I wanted to make the flames yellow, and so I just used a piece from the 6x6 paper pad and just used my quick dry adhesive and backed pieces on to make the flames yellow. And I'm going to speed this up pretty quickly because literally all I'm doing is sticking glue and cutting bits of paper so that the yellow doesn't poke down below into the actual candle, and it's just the flame that is yellow. Now, the color inspirations that I pulled for this, I had thought that I would use two of the sequence mixes from Spiegel Mom Scraps, but I actually don't end up using the one that I thought that I would use, the one that coordinates with this collection from Pink Paisley, and I go with Orange Blossom instead and just layer some sequins, and you'll see that coming up in a little bit. So there is the cut file from Spiegel Mom Scraps, along with a word that I got from the Silhouette Design Store, and then the pictures, which will go flank the candles on either side, on the right and the left. They were 4x3 pictures, but I trimmed them down just a little bit in order to not overlap the digital cut file that I had used from Spiegel Mom Scraps. So my original plan here had been to layer the sequins and put them over the base of the flame so that it would look like that shimmery part in a candle on the flame. But the yellow and the yellow/orange that are in Orange Blossom didn't match, and so I had to revisit how I was going to use these sequins on this layout, and the flame parts really weren't big enough that my original plan was going to work, so I had to look for a different solution to that. And just using my fine line glue pen to put birthday down so that I can design the rest of the page, and I realized that birthday is going to overlap some of the elements, so I need to make sure I get the pictures down before I finish putting down the rest of the word. And I just used my straight edge there to line up the pictures to make sure that they were even tops from left to right picture. And the adhesive from my Silhouette mat is pretty strong still, so a lot of birthday probably would have stayed, but just to ensure that it sticks, I wanted to use my liquid adhesive there. So this is the foundation of the page and my main inspiration, and from there it's just adding some fun color and support elements. I had overlapped, one of the yellow flames went too far down into the candle, and so I just used my scissors to trim that down, and then the liquid glue pen from Martha Stewart to adhere some of the extra little teeny tiny pieces down. I still want to find a way to get these sequins on there, and as my original plan didn't work, I was playing with using them just as fun, sort of like confetti, but I'm not sure at this point how I'm going to get them on there. I want a header for my page, and lately I have taken to either just sort of running my scissors through the paper, which gives me an uneven edge, and or ripping it. And I didn't want the white on this, so the loosely cut scissor worked for a nice topper. So I have from this collection, Summer Fun, I have the chipboard pieces, the stickers. You can just see peeking out of there is the acetate or vellum bits and the ephemera. And you'll see I go back and forth multiple times through these elements, just trying to decorate the page. So I have the label sticker there, which I'm going to put down. And the nice thing about that label sticker is the depth of field in this picture is really good, and the junk, I'm going to say, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but the paper plates and the napkins and all those things that one needs on a birthday party are out of focus in the picture, which is fantastic, but there's still enough clarity that they're sort of disturbing. Not disturbing, I should say, but they definitely catch your eye. And so I decided to use some of the elements, decorative elements there, to just cover those up a little bit, and that worked out perfectly. So I go back to these sequins, and this is that first sequence mix. I think it's called Girl Glitter. I'm sorry, I don't have the sequence mix in front of me. That was designed to go with this collection, I believe, and I thought I would use it, but because I don't use all of the colors that are in the collection, it didn't really match. I thought I would use the little silver dimensional flowers as the center of A, P, and P in happy, but it doesn't really need that, and that was just me finding a way to force using the sequence on the page. So we're going to put an acetate sticker on the top of that picture there. And I'm still looking for other embellishments. The page seems a little sparse, and I'm not sure what direction I want to go in with this. I found that little hello top half of a hexagon, which I thought would be a nice way to pull your eye from that top header to the pictures to that large title, then down to the bottom of the page, and create some movement down the page. And I knew that by just having that little yellow thing there, it looked sort of funny, so I needed a little bit to ground it, and I just cut off a little bit of that yellow to ground that there, and it pulls the yellow from the flames and then that sticker and creates a bit of a visual triangle, the triangle that I like to create when I'm scrapping. And that hello sticker sits perfectly there and it's less of an eyesore on the page. I really liked those cut apart elements that are shrunk down to 6 by 6 and thought there might be something fun to use on the page there, but that didn't work. And that variegated piece, I absolutely love that piece of paper, and I thought that that would make another great, just the yellow, because I needed another splash of yellow up the top of the page, another great part of the header up there. I wanted to make that just a little bit thinner, and I wasn't sure that I'd actually cut it straight, which I hadn't, so I just used my ruler and X-Acto knife to get that to a uniform size. And it was a little bit long, so I trimmed it down. And I like that when I have top pieces and bottom pieces, if they aren't 12 by 12 across the page, that they aren't the same length, just again for a little bit of visual interest to the page. So I trimmed that one down and left the bottom one 6 by 6. So what I'm going to do here is I've decided I still want to stack the sequins. So I took the little dimensional florally things and I glued them on top of the either the flat or the cupped sequins to create a little bit of what I'm going to call a sequin sandwich. And I'm just going to use those scattered throughout the page as confetti to celebrate the birthday. And so all I'm doing here is layering them, gluing them, and giving them some time to dry before I adhere them down to the page. I'm going to let those sit for a little while, and I pull out some Paste-eez from Shimmerz. I knew I wanted a little bit more yellow, and I wanted a little bit of a mixed media texture to the page. I've never played with the Paste-eez before, so this is a first for me, and I literally just dipped my finger in it and smushed it through the page, and I really like the effect that it gave. Everybody calls the packaging technique, so I'm going to dub this the finger technique to spread the Paste-eez on the page. And it looks sort of funny as it is, but I knew there were other elements that were going to go on top of that, and it was just going to add some interest to the background. And then I took some of the ruby Spritz that I have and I use an awful lot of, and just added a little bit of mist droplets in there. And so I am now going to apply 3 trios of these sequin sandwiches to the layout, and again, more just for visual interest. I had no plan for how this page was going to turn out, and was just sort of working with whatever came to me as I was moving through the layout. So I have those 2 there, and then for the balance I'm going to put 3 up the top there, and I believe I ran out and had to make another 2 sets to go with that. So time to shuffle through these embellishments again, because I still feel like I need something else to it. I really like that Instax camera, and the Instax up the top there adds a little bit of weight to the layout that moves and goes with that flow that I'm trying to create as you move from that top right through the pictures, through the title, down to that bottom left there. And I also found this ice cream cone that I thought kind of looked like a cupcake that could be for a birthday, but I had to move that hello in order to create balance on the page there. And back to the stickers again. I had a couple of shimmery elements, and so I wanted to put a few more on there. I thought that heart covered up something that was just distracting in the top of the picture. The chandelier covered that up nicely and gave some balance to the picture. And then I used one of the silvery word stickers that says good times. So I've got that good times that's shimmery, and the shimmery and the smiley face that's by the right hand side picture. And then I knew I was going to use these letter stickers to spell out Sherry's name. And I am infamously known for putting the first letter first, because why wouldn't you? That's how you type a word. But then I always remember, as soon as I get that first letter stuck down, that I got to start with the end of the word to line it up correctly and make sure that I have room for everything. So I struggle with these packagings. I always get things caught, and I rip the packaging of the thickers, and it's always a bit of a comical process there. So that, my friends, is probably pretty close to done. If I were to put too much more on there, it would be a little too busy. I do go in off camera and I put journaling underneath that space between Sherry and the footer that I have in the page there. Oh, I did find another trio of things that I wanted. I found that header, or not the header, the selvage of that 6x6 paper pack had hearts on it, and so I just fussy cut 3 of the hearts out, again to pull your eye in a trio from the top to the title and then down to the bottom of the page. And that is going to be the end of the layout. I do, as I said, journal on it, and then I do take one of my roller stamps and I stamp treasured memories in the yellow up there to just kind of break up that yellow and make it not so ubiquitous. So that is my finished layout for Spiegel Mom Scraps. If you don't subscribe, we would love to have you join us. We have some fun things and lots of fun themes coming up. And if you don't subscribe to my personal channel, I'd love to have you join me too. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments down below. Thanks for joining me today. Take care.